Good morning, my dear students. Today we are discussing with the first subphylum of phylum Chordata, that is Urochordata. So while learning with the classification of phylum Chordata, we have learned that the phylum Chordata has been divided into three subphylum, that is Urochordata, subphylum Cephalochordata and subphylum Vertebrata. So this first one, that is the two, that is subphylum Urochordata and subphylum Cephalochordata, they are called it as Protochordata. That means proto, that is the first, chordata. The organisms which belonging to the protochordate are generally, they are known as, that is the lower chordates. They will form the major division of a chordata. So these protochordata, they are also called as acraniata. A means absence and the cranium, because they lack a true skull. So when you look into the characteristic of a protochordata, they are generally found in marine water. Their body is bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and coelomated. At a certain stage of their life, their body develops a long rod-like structure for support called the notochord, and they exhibit organ system level of organization. So the example, they are herdmania and amphioxus. These are the characteristic feature of a protochordata. So here it is, the flow chart will clearly let you know that it has been divided into three subphylum. Urochordata, that is, or it is called as tunicata. Example, Ascidia. Second one, that is Cephalochordata, that is Branchiostoma. So here these protochordata, they are exclusively marine. In Urochordates and Cephalochordates, only the two subphylums. Notochord, which is present in the larval tail, whereas in the Cephalochordata, it is present from head to tail and persists lifelong. So this is about two of the subphylums, that is Urochordata and Cephalochordata, which is collectively called it as Protochordata. So the third part, that is the subphylum Vertebrata, that means which will possess the notochord, and during their later stage it has been replaced by the vertebral column. So that will be the third subphylum, will be discussed in the later classes. So first we'll know how exactly you have learnt about the fundamental character of a chordata. Now the subphylum Urochordata and also Cephalochordata and also that is the Vertebrata, they have their own fundamental characters. So first one will list it out. These are marine, mostly sessile filter feeders. So this Urochordata subphylum, it is also called them as tunicata. Tunicata means the body which is enclosed in a leathery test or tunic sheath, which is composed of tunicin, or it is what we call it as, which is made up of a cellulose. So they are called it as tunicates. So here Urochordata, that will exhibit a important phenomenon, that is what we call it as retrogressive metamorphosis. What happens here, it is the notochord that will be occurs only in the tail of the larva and they get disappears in the adults. See, the retrogressive metamorphosis means metamorphosis, you know that juvenile will develop into a, that is into a adult form during their metamorphosis. In retrogressive metamorphosis, the larva that will possess the advanced characters which are lost during the development, and the adult become either sedentary or degenerated with the, that is the primitive character. So for example, So when you take the notochord, that will occur only in the larval stage, whereas it is absent in case of adult. Second one, when you take the fundamental character of the phylum Chordata, that is the nerve cord. Here the nerve cord is present in the larva, but what happens? It has been replaced by a single dorsal ganglion in the adult form. So the gill slits, what you observe, or stigma, the third fundamental character, are numerous, but it persists in the adults and later on it will open into the atrium, and instead of they have to get open into the exterior. So there are no true gills, but they are called as branchial baskets. So these are the three fundamental character of a subphylum Urochordata. Circulatory system is of open type and the blood consisting of venoocytes. So these are the special type of blood cells which they are found only in the ascidians. And excretory system is lacking, and asexual reproduction which occurs to takes place by budding. So coming to the examples to study, the first very important and a most common example which present in the subphylum Urochordata, that is Ascidia. So first we'll see the classification, that is phylum Chordata, subphylum Urochordata or Tunicata, class Ascidaceae, genus Ascidia and species Endovannensis. So coming to the habitat and the habit of Ascidia. So like protochordates, these are all marine which occurs at all depth of the sea. It is sessile in the adult stage, but the larva is a free living form. The adults remain attached to the bottom of the sea or other substrata by its base. Ascidia is a microphagous animal, that means it feeds on microorganisms, and the food materials they are obtained by ciliary action. So next it is to study the morphological character of Ascidia. You can see in the picture, that is external organization. So it is which looks like a bag like body with the basal ends which get, that means they get attached to that is to some support, and they are free end which are directed upwards. The surface is smooth and naked, and when we say about the Urochordate, you know that the body have to be covered with the translucent tunic or dust. Because of the presence of the tunic, the Urochordates, they are called it as tunicata. So this tunic, it is composed of carbohydrate and some amount of it which is made up of cellulose like compound, and that what we call it as the tunicin. So here very important that is the outer surface of the dust or the tunic, which forms a thin transparent cuticle, what we call it as the mantle, which is composed of protein, and feeble musculature is seen throughout the mantle, even around the siphons. Now we'll discuss about the two of the aperture, where the free end of the body, which consisting of two important aperture. One at the top is oral or the branchial aperture. You can clearly see in the picture, a picture containing the mouth, and the other, it is a place at the side, and it is called atrial funnel or the atrial siphon. So this atriopore is situated in the middle of the atrial funnel. The oral funnel or the branchial funnel, it is usually 8-lobed, while the atrial funnel, it is of 6-lobed in case of Ascidia. So here in this picture, which clearly seen, that is how exactly the water enters with these two siphons. In living condition, when the stream of water passes, that means get inside the body through the oral funnel and gets out from the atrial funnel. So if anything happens to an animal, the body wall contracts instantaneously. As a result, when there is a disturbance to the animal, the water which is inside the body that it has to get out or it has to expelled out, it is like that of a jets from where the water gets out. So, which looks like that, and they are commonly called them as sea squirt. So here the free end that will be attached, that is to the stolon or the base, and the body it is enclosed in a tough but a translucent tunic or the test. So in this picture you can clearly see the water get enter into the inhalencephalon or the oral funnel, and later on it get enters into the body, and by the exhalencephalon the water gets out. So other structures, what you can see, the green color which marks the tunic, and next to that you can see the body wall. And when the water enters into the body, it passes from, that is where, that is the pharynx you can see, and then the other parts like stomach, and also it consisting of intestine, and where exactly the gill slits which are present, they get open into the atrium there, and then you can see the exhalencephalon where the water gets out from the body. So this is about the morphological character of Ascidia, which comes under the subphylum, that is Urochordata. Thank you.